Hey YouTubers, I've got an Ariens 824E Snowblower. What's happening with this one is I believe the connecting rod is broken in the engine. So when I pull it over, nothing happens. All you can hear is the rod in there. There is spark as well. First I thought maybe the coil got undone and was jamming up the flywheel, because previously I could not turn the motor at all, it would jam up. Now if I put the spark plug in, there's no difference. All you can hear is the connecting rod in the engine. So it's a nice blower, it looks almost new, it's just a couple years old. It's a shame it's blown already. But what I believe happened is the throttle was stuck open inside behind the cover, and I'll show you when I take it apart. The motor over revved and blew the connecting rod. So first of all, to remove the engine, I'm going to start by removing the belt cover over here. There's a small 3/8 bolt over here. You don't need to remove the bolt completely, just loosen it. And there's also a little bolt on the other side. And now just pull on the cover gently. Now you want to remove the belt guide by removing the 2 1/2-inch bolts over here. What this part is to prevent the belts from coming off the pulleys here. Now make sure you've either disconnected the spark plug or removed it altogether for safety reasons. Now to remove the belt, you can just slide it over the pulley like that. Sometimes you can turn the engine over a bit and it's going to help it move along. If your engine's jammed, you may not be able to do that. You may have to remove the whole pulley here. Now to remove the drive belt on the blower, first of all, remove the spring from the bolt here. Just grab it with needle nose pliers and pull out, just like that. Now you can move the belt so it comes off the pulley down here. Just move it toward the motor as you're turning it, and it's going to come right off the pulley. And once it's off enough, you can run it underneath the engine pulley. Then the engine's free to come off without any obstruction from the belt. What's left to do now is to remove the 4 bolts that hold the engine to the body of the snowblower. There's 2 on this side here, and there's 2 on the other side right at the base. Now what you need for this is a 1/2-inch wrench. And now we'll take off the nuts on the other side. Now that you removed the 4 nuts, there should not be anything holding that engine to that snowblower. Now when you get an engine off of a snowblower, first thing you should do is tilt it up a bit like that with a piece of wood like I did over here, and then drain the oil. So grab your 5/8 wrench and take the plug off. So let your engine sit there for a good half hour to make sure all the oil's out of the motor. When you go to work on it, it's going to be much easier if there's not oil dripping everywhere when you take the covers off. Now I'm done draining the oil, I'm just going to put the plug back on. Now I'm going to remove the carburetor cover just to show you what's happened. The knob here can usually be pulled out. If you can't, grab a flat screwdriver, insert it near the shaft down here, and then pry it out. So what you need to remove to get this cover off is this 5/16 bolt here, the 2 Phillips screws over here, and on the other side of the cowling there's a little bolt over here that is 5/16 or a Phillips screwdriver. I'll bring the cowling over the choke shaft over here. Now the last thing we need to remove is the bottom wire here on the terminal. So just grab pliers and pry it down, just like that. And now you've got the cover off. Now here's what I was telling you earlier, that the throttle was jammed in the open position. The throttle's really stiff. It's hard to move up and down. And when the blower was brought here, it was stuck up, and even when I moved the throttle down, this here didn't even move back. As you can see there, now it's moving. So by having the throttle wide open like that, the butterfly on the carb here was stuck wide open and probably didn't come back at all if the lever was put back down. So what happened is the rod broke. So again, it's really important that you don't rev your engine full throttle with no load on it. In this case, it doesn't appear that it was anybody's fault, but when any engine over revs like that, something's going to break. Now I checked on the crankcase of the engine and I do not see any cracks or holes. Usually when the rod breaks, it'll shoot a hole right through the crankcase. There's no hole on this side either, but there could be one under the starter, even a crack, so I'm going to remove that to start with. Now that both screws are removed, the starter's just going to slide down, pull it out,